Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and peace be with you, brothers and sisters of humanity. I hope all is well. Welcome to another video. This video is a response to how people reacted the video I posted yesterday, which was a reaction to Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim, a great Sheikh I normally like and appreciate, although I don't really listen to him very often, but you know, every now and then I listen to him, and I truly appreciate his sincerity for the most part, and trying to bring us the Sunnah. This was a questions and answers session, and he reads out this question where a young woman, or someone, she seems young, a child, or maybe, I don't know, someone who seems young, because I think an adult who is in that situation would have ran away. So this person sends him a question and asks the sheikh that what she should do, what his advice would be for someone like her whose father abuses her sexually, mentally, and physically, but he's out of the country right now. Should she speak up? And the sheikh kind of answered her in a very almost harsh manner. And I'm going to add that right here, right now, again. But I also want to read out the comments of how people responded.
Says that my father abuses me physically, mentally, and sexually. I haven't told anyone, but now he does not do anything because he's out of the country. If you raise my voice, or if I raise my voice or tell my past to anyone, am I sinful? This is an issue that is difficult to address. Now, people would not understand this, especially nowadays, with the Me Too movement, with the feminist movements, with so-called freedom of speech and democracy and the likes. Cultures differ. Now, Ariba says, my father did this and that. Can she prove it? The answer is no. So what would this be classified in Islamic fiqh? In a court of law, if I were to come in public and say, Ariba abused me, sexually harassed me, of course people would laugh, but I'm giving a claim. So what is the logical thing to do? The judge would come to me and say, prove it. If I have evidence, then that would be a proof. I can step forward and talk about it. If I can get Ariba to confess and say, yes, I'm pleading guilty, I did all of that, then I have a case. But if she says, no, I didn't do anything, then it's my word against hers. And coming forward and speaking would be plain slandering me. So if you go and talk about your father and claim that he sexually harassed you, do you have any proof? She says, yes, my elder sister and my younger sister, they were also harassed. And they'll come forward. Oh, okay, you've got a case. Yes, my mom saw him harass me when I was 7, 8 years of age. You have a case. But when you don't have any witnesses, how would I know that you are not mentally ill and making up these stories? I can't. I can't say that you're telling the truth or you're a blatant liar. Therefore, we cannot confirm what you're saying or denying it. If you come forward with such an allegation and you fail to prove that, that would be slandering, and it would be a huge sin against your father, let alone any other, against any other person, let alone your father. Which means that If someone slanders me or slanders Tom, Dick, or Harry without providing proof, he would be flogged 80 lashes. And this is only to protect the whole community. I sympathize with you. I don't believe what you're saying is true, and I don't say that it is not. But without the proper evidence, I would never ever dare and say a word against your father, who might be a righteous, practicing Muslim, totally unlike what you're saying. And this is where the dilemma is.
I'm from Somalia originally, and I talk about many different issues that pertain to our community, my community, and a lot of it is violence against women and children and injustice in general. And I notice my brothers don't really like us talking about that. But I was hoping, now that I have this English channel, I wanted to, talk about issues that pertain to all of us Muslims, because these things happen everywhere. So every now and then non-Somalis would find my channel, although it's pretty new. I only started uploading videos very recently, and I don't do it very often, but I'm trying. But I've noticed the Somali brothers and the non-Somali brothers are the same. I guess this is a man's world after all. It's truly incredible. The difference, the contrast between men and women and how they see and view these issues. I want to read the comments to you. It's pretty shocking. And let me make it clear. I never said anything negative about the sheikh. I just thought his answer was sort of encouraging the young person or this person to stay silent rather than seek help. And it was pretty disappointing, if you ask me, because silence is never the answer. But it seems to me that most men want these things buried. And the first instinct is always protecting the perpetrator or the adult male, never protecting the victim. No one ever said pick up this man and just condemn him to death or incarceration. It all starts with this young person or this person, the victim, seeking help, and an investigation takes place. But most of the guys just twisted everything, and oops, well, if you don't have even a child, if you don't have concrete evidence, then shut up. The last thing you want to do is tarnish the good name of the adult male. I'm going to read the comments to you. This is like taking a poll, doing a research. It's just incredible. Uthman, in Islam, accusations must be met with evidence, is what the sheikh is pointing out. He didn't tell her, you're lying, therefore I can't help you. The question she is asking is a very serious matter, which requires context and counseling for viable solutions. Also, those who are attacking the sheikh, I don't know anyone who attacked the sheikh, know that you will be held account for everything you say or type. So have taqwa of Allah, and if you disagree, do so with knowledge from the Quran and Sunnah and not your opinion. Naila, a woman, response is typical. What else can you expect from those people that protect their own kind? See how women on one side, men on one side. William Nander, a guy, don't argue with emotion. Remember, Allah knows what is in your heart. We sympathize with the child, but without evidence, Your argument is useless. Our ruling is based on Hadith and Quran. And also, you have to understand, he is not an authority and don't know the child personally. So he cannot help the child if he wants to. Nobody's asking him to help the child firsthand. It's the rhetoric he used that we're talking about. It does not give the child or this person an encouragement to get out of that situation. It rather encourages this person to stay. Or the thought of asking a child to find evidence. What are we saying? Go back to the situation and now collect something? It is just, it's wild. The expectations as a sheikh or anyone who is confronted with a situation like this, the expectation is always say, okay, seek help. The person is just not going to be condemned immediately. Tell the person to seek help, to talk to someone, a relative even. Even if you think, well, we don't want this man to get in trouble with the authorities, you tell the child to talk to a relative. That can be a way for the child to creating evidence, because when later on, when they're asked, have you told someone? Then they can say, yes, I talked to so-and-so. And he's telling me, just for an advice, woman should not show her face on YouTube as vlog. Yeah, right. Woman should not show her face. I will show my face. Thank you very much. Suad, this is a female. I believe the name is Somali. Says, I don't blame the guy. I blame where he got it from. I guess she's talking about the sheikh. Mohammed Cheite, a male. I am not sure if you are qualified to make this video. The sheikh is absolutely right. If she's telling the truth, she would definitely get a better help than a sheikh's answer. Like, I don't think this person expected the sheikh to call the police. I think this person is a young person who's very confused. Probably loves her father, yet knows how wrong and horrific these actions are. Probably very, very afraid. Like Mufti Menk. She probably wanted him to say, you poor thing, I'm very, very sorry to hear about this. I'm so sorry to hear what's happening to you. You don't deserve that. Talk to someone. That's what she wanted. But he jumped to the extreme of protecting the person she's complaining about. That's not to say anything negative about the sheikh. That's not to say anything about Islam. Period. Don't try to manipulate us. Okay. So that's what he says. And Arahuelo, a female, responds, I am shocked at his answer. What a horrible way to address such an important question. Not only is he insensitive, but so dismissive. These sheikhs need training on how to deal with these issues relevant in our communities. I know someone said in one of these comments, you know, what does it mean to read these comments? It means nothing, and it doesn't add any value to the situation. I think it does, because it shows the divide. It shows how we women are being treated compared to our brothers. It's like you're using the deen. The people who are at the helm of the deen and the most powerful figures are men. And the people who came up with these rulings, all men. And we are the victims. Our children are the victims. And the perpetrators are men. and it's men who made the rules, and it's men who are at the helm of the religion. They're the most powerful figures. So yeah, I think these comments are very, very, very important. Nasiri Abu Bakari Adams, a gentleman, a man. Salam, sister. Please, I don't agree with you. He is sheikh. This is Islam, sister. How can you punish someone without a proof? I never said anything about punish. Why are we jumping to punishment? Carl Kestis, I think it's a man. Everything the sheikh said is absolutely true, okay? And in conformity with Islam, besides his witnesses' statement, because in Islam you need a minimum of 4 witnesses, as I understand it. That's zina. Suad says, so in Islam, the only sex that are not accepted is the ones that have witnesses. If nobody witnesses rape, yeah, because rape takes place, and even zina, they all take place in secrecy, because the rapist wants to make sure that nobody sees him. And people who are committing zina make sure that nobody sees them. That's why zina is usually, unless you confess, it's very, very difficult to, or there's a pregnancy for proof, it's very, very difficult to prove it. However, rape is different. There are many ways to prove rape has taken place, especially when the victim is young. If it's a girl and she lives at home, or if it's a boy, there are physical examinations that can be done. There are ways to prove if these young people were sexually penetrated. So it can be proven. They might not be able to prove who did it if there's no semen or anything like that. But if the person knows who they're talking about, then definitely it can be proven whether or not a sexual intercourse has taken place. Carl Kestis, Suad Shardi, he says, if no one witnessed it, Sheikh Asim al-Hakim isn't saying it didn't happen. But it means you can't prove it, and you can't accuse people without evidence, because unfortunately there are false accusations. This is just completely out of context. You can accuse people without having an evidence, especially if you're a child, and there can still be an investigation taking place, and a proof and evidence can come out of that investigation. Muna Mohammed, a female, what you are talking about refers to accusing someone of fornication, adultery. It's not about rape, which is physically forcing yourself on someone and accusing them and causing them great harm. Sachib Zaman, I think this is a guy. No disrespect to Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, but this is not the right court to ask this question or ask for help. He is one of the top accredited leaders of Islam after Sheikh Albani, along with Dr. Salah Mufti Menk and few others. This person, I can't tell whether male or female. For people hating and bashing on Sheikh, I don't know who is bashing the Sheikh. Remember, Islam is not based on our emotions. There are rules and regulations from Allah Himself. There is way to carry out thing in Islam, or maybe he means, or they mean these things in Islam. Reacting emotionally and giving out emotional opinion rather than following Sharia shows how the liberal culture and feminism has taken over rather than what Allah has given us. This kind of argument, very weak, shallow, dismissive, blame it on liberalism and feminism and everything just dissolves and evaporates. Such a nonsense. This is not going to work. We all know wrong from right. It's not that complex. It's not impossible. It is not a rocket science. Children and women are violated all the time. And the perpetrators are men. And the people are protecting them are men. It's not that complex. Our brothers who are at the helm need to do a better job protecting the innocent, protecting the most vulnerable. We see this day in and day out in every Muslim community. The first thing we think about is hiding and burying and shaming and bullying people to submission. That's not Islam. Very, very far from it. Shameful. Gabriel Abdul responds to this person, oh, I guess he's your sheikh, but he's not our sheikh, okay? He responds to Gabriel, it is not about our or your sheikh, it's about Islam. No, it's not. No, it's not. Don't try to, this is what you always do, guys. You push us away from Islam as if you are on the side of Islam and we're not. We're actually the ones that are on the side of Islam and asking you to do a better job and don't lie about our religion, because Islam is about justice and fairness. Gabriel responds to this person, but Islam is not something I hear from this kind of sheikh or sheikhs. Someone named Ninja responds to Gabriel. There's a difference between worship and respect. I personally respect the sheikh, but not to the point of being a blind follower. Who you follow is not my problem. Just know, again, that what the sheikh say are not opinion. Oh, it was his opinion, all right. It had nothing to do with whether the father should be taken straight to court or not. Not the sheikh or us business. When a person, a victim comes to us, we should tell them, go seek help. It's not our business whether the person has evidence or not. The evidence is for later. The first thing we want to do is get this person out of that situation, not keep them in that situation. It's not that hard. Okay, Yusuf Abdullah, a Somali guy who followed me from my Somali channel. Sister Fatia, you are totally wrong and the sheikh is 100% right. I'm not surprised. Okay. Your refutation is based on emotions and perceptions, while the sheikh's answer is based on solid Islamic fiqh and logic. You are clearly bypassing the evidence. Here we go. Evidence. Who said anything about that? Oh my God, this is there a comprehension issue here, or are they doing this on purpose to exhaust us so we just give up? Fahima, a female. I think the sheikh is trying to cover his fellow brothers' shameless and disgusting behavior. Yes, without evidence, it's hard to believe, but it's unlikely to accuse own father such a disgrace. Word. Action. Asad Dahir, one of my devoted followers from my other channel, follows me here. He's always debating me. Thank you. So Fatia Absiya, you are telling us that if my daughter says my father sexually abused me, we will believe her automatically. Given the seriousness of the claim, in which in Western countries is a long jail term and in Sharia it's death, you are making us, if it's easy allegation, it's not, dear sister. Okay. A lot of run-ons. It has to be investigated. Of course it has to be investigated. I never said anything about just taking everything at first hand. It will be investigated. Hello? That is so ridiculous. Come on. Okay. Yamin, sister, he just took precautions. He clearly mentioned, I can either say it is false or true. Of course, he can't say it's false or true. Yes, he said that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, it's not up to us, any of us, if an adult or a young person comes to me and asks me a question like this, the first thing I'm going to think about is, do you have proof? No, I'm not the court of law, nor am I the authority. I'm not going to go there. The first thing I'm going to try to do is tell this person to take themselves out of this situation. Separation, first and foremost. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what we're talking about. Why are we just jumping to, it's impossible. What if this is really happening? And it's often the truth. What if it's happening and we take all hope away from this person before they even seek help? So they can just remain in that situation and die 1,000 deaths. Abu Musab, I don't know who this woman is slandering the sheikh. I never slandered the sheikh. Who explained the process one would need to go through from an Islamic perspective, but clearly she's been influenced by the feminists, there we go, movement, as she keeps repeating that male adults are always believed. Well, it's true. It's actually the case in all over the world. Because it's men's world. But if men were more fair and more just, then it's okay that it's men's world. I don't have a problem that this is a men's world. I don't really care. I'm only here a very short time period anyway. And whatever will be, will be. What I have a problem with is trying to twist God's word, making it your own, and trying to make us swallow and believe rulings that were specifically designed to protect you, brothers. We love you. I don't care what you call me, feminist this, feminist that. It seems like it's the only thing you do nowadays. It's the common dirty word nowadays that men, even Western men, use. If it's feminism, that I want justice for children, and I want justice for women, and I want a better treatment, sign me up. I don't care. Anyone that knows me knows that I am actually very conservative and far from liberalism. Everything's not black and white. A lot of our Muslim brothers are failing us. For people who complain about injustice and how the West treats the Muslim world and the hypocrisy of the West, you should look into yourselves, how you treat your sisters and the most vulnerable in our communities, how you bully us to submission always, trying to make us accept so many things that are not acceptable to us and try to pretend like it's Islam. Islam is beautiful. It's a beautiful religion. It's not Islam or Allah we have an issue with. It's you we have an issue with. It's our brothers. It's men who are at the helm. I'm going to keep saying this. And no, thank you. I'm not going to hide my face. I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to be talking about these issues that a lot of people don't talk about. I've been talking about it in Somali, in my other channel, and now I'm going to talk about it here in English. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.